On the 22nd of October 2015, Dovetail Games released the North London Line route from Richmond to Stratford. Covering a distance of 17 miles, the route is set in the present day, and passenger services are provided by London Overground, which applied exclusively by 5-car dual-voltage Class 378/2 EMUs. Trains call at all 23 intermediate stations, taking an average journey time of just 1 hour and 10 minutes. The first part of the route between Richmond and Gunnersbury is shared with London Underground's District Line and is electrified at 630 volts on an almost unique 4-rail system. At Gunnersbury, the 4th rail ends and the NLL curves away from the district onto 750 volt DC 3rd rail. The line covers the northern suburbs of London whilst negotiating various junctions that link up with some of the major routes that run out of the capital and towards the north of England and beyond. At Acton Central, the 3rd rail runs out, and this is where the change to overhead power takes place, and trains remain on the overhead all the way to Stratford, unless of course they are heading onto the East London Line at Highbury and Islington, where the 3rd rail resumes. The route is well detailed and features major structures such as the bridge over the River Thames at Kew, Hampstead Tunnel and the brick-arched viaducts over Camden. The trackside is adorned with clutter and graffiti, which adds to the gritty atmosphere of the capital. NLL stations are all nicely detailed, as come with official signage, and although there are currently no rolling stock to represent the District Line, Kew Gardens and Gunnersbury both feature LUL roundels. As well as the main route from Richmond to Stratford, you also get part of the East London Line, but only as far as Haggerston. There is also a few pieces of track placed here, there and everywhere for the main purpose of running AI trains. The North London Line has some good scenario potential, and with a number of options available, you should be able to create some very realistic scenarios. The Class 378 comes packaged with the route, and with the release of the NLL, the 378 that was and still is being sold separately with scenarios for South London network was upgraded with dual voltage functionality and a 5-car variant. If you already own the SLN 378, you will not be paying for the same train twice. The upgraded 378 handles the same as the other Electrostars available in Train Simulator, although the 378s are physically limited to 75 miles an hour. I particularly like the added touch of the animated shoe gear and the passenger doors on the interior view, even if the shoes clip through the track and the doors don't slide to a close whilst in the passenger view. The sounds provided by default are recycled from the other Electrostars that are available for Train Simulator, along with a low quality sound clip of a horn which can be sounded only from the spacebar, as the B key is used to sound the depot whistle, which has been ripped from the Isle of Wight Class 4 H3. I'm not a great fan of these sounds, as they sound way too synthesized. If you want something more realistic, then I'd highly recommend purchasing the Armstrong Powerhouse Electrostar sound pack, the sounds of which are also being used in this video. There is, however, none of the pre-recorded voice announcements present, which would have been a nice feature to have, since Dovetail Games already had permission from TFL to use the Overground brand. They could have probably obtained permission to use the onboard announcements and integrate them into the upgraded 378 accordingly. There is also a few other visual bugs with the 378. Firstly, when a 5-car unit is placed in the scenario editor, the simulator cannot decide whether to display a 5-car advertisement sticker on the front of a train or not. I'm not sure whether this is something to do with the way the 378s have been numbered in the sim, but I think that this is a visual quirk that needs addressing. Secondly, the pantograph on AI units remains raised when trains have crossed over from an overhead line section to a third rail section. I thought that this may have been an artifact of the Armstrong Powerhouse sound pack, but this also occurs with unmodified units as well. I have no idea why this happens, other than the inability to script AI trains to raise or lower their pantograph accordingly. The route itself comes with 7 scenarios for the 378, and 3 of which are the so-called railfan scenarios. The drivable scenarios are of the career type, which scrutinises your driving performance and awards or deducts points from you accordingly. The scenarios are completely fictional and are in no way based off real timetabled services, so the amount of AI you see varies. The scenarios do feature adverse weather, and at times they are challenging to drive. Since I only have the core update to TS 2016, the NLL gives me my first taste of a new railfan mode. And to be completely honest, I just think that this is a pointless gimmick that just takes up space. They are essentially career scenarios set up with just AI trains being programmed in, and this is something that anyone can do with relative ease in the scenario editor. There is no drivable consist assigned to the player, and the aim is to just take screenshots so that you can share them with the online community. Though you don't actually have to take any photographs to be successful, you will still get top score anyway. There are a couple of problems that I also have with this route. The first problem I have is the bugs with the platforms. Depending on where you stop on the platform, the doors in either the front or rear carriage cannot decide whether they want to open or not. It is all down to the way the platform markers associated with the route are programmed, and if all the doors open correctly, that means that you have stopped in a pixel perfect place, where the simulator will recognise that all of the carriages are in the platform correctly. The other major issue that I have with the route are the missed opportunities that Dovetail Games presented themselves with in regards to additional route mileage. I feel that there was no excuse not to include the Gospel Oak to Barking line, let alone the West London line to Clapham Junction and the remainder of the East London line. The North London line could have become the North London network, and if DTG wanted to, they could have tied up the loose ends with South London network and maybe throw in the Watford DC lines as an additional bonus. But they failed to capitalise on this, and as such, the route feels very empty and linear. It only caters for those who just want to go from A to B in less than an hour. Despite all of the pitfalls, this route does perform rather smoothly for the most part, and I only encountered some minor instances of lag at various points on the route. If you are looking to recreate services around this part of London suburban area, then it should be a nice asset to your collection. That said, I would strongly advise that you hold off until the inevitable and rather frequent Steam sale to try and save yourself a couple of extra quid. I really don't think that this route is worth the full price, especially given its length and the amount of things you can physically do. If you have the route already, you can download the North London line backdated. This free route backdates the NLL to the 1980s and adds the lines to North Woolwich and Broad Street. Overall, it's a nice little add-on to the default route, and I really like the level of detail that has been put into it. Also available for this route is the Class 59/2 diesel locomotive. Because the Class 59 has a lot to talk about, I have decided to make a bonus review video which can be accessed by clicking or tapping the link down below in the description. So that concludes my thoughts on the North London line, and I hope that you have enjoyed watching the review. Thanks for watching and take care.